We're going to minimize any chance that Malcolm had snuck in that little bit. I mean, excuse me, William had snuck in that little bit about the liars, which that would have been a lot of bafflegob. How do you pronounce that? I have to call in Gloria to help get the pronunciation again. All right. Bafflegab.
Bafflegab.
Bafflegab. Yes,
BTM.
indeed.
I guess even in a world of Toastmasters, we can have a wee bit too much of Bafflegab. I just spent 20 some days with a bunch of Red Cross individuals and talk about their love of acronyms. Ooh, yeah, I did push a few buttons on people when I told them I wouldn't speak to them if they couldn't speak English. With that, we're going to help our dear friend, fellow member, prepare and enhance her presentation for international speech. Coming up next will be Francine. And this is practicing for her international speech. So as far as we do support and evaluation, think how can she tighten what she has up as opposed to changing a presentation? How can she tighten it? What few little tweaks can she do? So that'll be part of her evaluation. I'll introduce just as the contest. Our next presenter coming to the front of the room. Yes. Francine Juhlin. It really isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. Francine Juhlin.
Did you know that our human brains are wired for survival? When we feel out of control, we form habits that give us the perception of safety. Fellow Toastmasters, imagine a caveman who moved to a cold climate. Brr. It wasn't that bad. Mr. Caveman adapted to the environment. I make fire, fire good, keep me warm. Mr. Caveman got comfy and cozy with his fire, the new habit. Then winter blew in. It was a bone-chilling cold. Mr. Caveman complained, fire not work here, backside cold. Brrr. Change management experts and sociology scholars agree. It takes a major upheaval to create change when a comfortable mindset no longer provides the perception of survival. The caveman had a major upheaval and needed to make a change. Caveman found shelter and with the fire increased the perception of survival. Did you know that a psychological upheaval can also be a catalyst for change? What types of major life upheavals have you experienced? Have you ever thwarted death? Have you ever looked the Grim Reaper right in the face and said, I have. Allow me to share the story of how I stuck it to the Grim Reaper and experienced what could have been my demise. It made me realize that no matter how bad life looks, it really isn't that bad. In 2004, I was an aircraft electrician in the Army in Iraq. A lot of people call me brave, but honestly, I thought I was just going to another country to fix airplanes like I had been doing for 18 years. Shortly after arriving in country, for those of you who don't speak military, that means in the war zone, I was hanging upside down, fixing some wires in the cockpit of an aircraft, like I had done many times before. This time was different. I saw this red glare out of the corner of my eye. Now my face was down in the shin bubble of a Chinook helicopter. This window is called the shin bubble because from the outside, looking into the cockpit, you see the pilot's shins and feet. My face was down there. And then there was that red glare that shot by. And then there was a loud thud. Then, boom! I got up as quickly as I could from the very awkward, contorted position I was in, and I saw that dust cloud settling where the mortar hit. It wasn't that bad, though. Missed the aircraft by about 150 yards. But wait, it gets better. It missed our tactical operation command post during pre-flight briefings. That's when I learned that the nickname of our logistical support center was Mortaritaville. Rockets and mortars hit all day long. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. Mortars constantly dropped with a thud. Sometimes there was a thud and a boom, and sometimes they just rolled away. It wasn't that bad, though. They usually missed their targets. Usually. Who wants to know about the time one didn't miss the target and my platoon sergeant saved my life? When Sergeant Quigley got back in country after his baby leave, bubbling with excitement and baby pictures, he said, "Come see the baby." "But boss, I'm on my way to go fix an aircraft for tonight's flight." "Don't worry about it. The air crews are still in pre-flight briefings. Come look at the baby." I had no idea how that seemingly innocuous conversation would become so profound. While we looked at the pictures, the ground shook with a loud kaboom. Not your old regular thud and boom. This was a full-blown kaboom. After we received the all clear, we went to investigate. A rocket hit an aircraft. The rocket hit the exact aircraft I was on my way to go fix. That is the day I thwarted death and told the Grim Reaper, just deploying to Iraq was a major upheaval in my life that changed my perspective of perceived safety. I adapted to my environment like our caveman did. Remember caveman? However, I still worried about what might happen next. I was still annoyed by minor inconveniences. I still complained about how bad the chow was. Thwarting death was another major upheaval. Seeing the hole in the aircraft where I would have been standing caused my perception of safety and survival to change. Now, like caveman's fire was a physical habit, those baby pictures that saved my life caused me to have a new psychological habit. I just say to myself, it really isn't that bad. My friends, when you encounter those hiccups, inconveniences, or major upheavals in your life, I encourage you to remember my story and say, it really isn't that bad.
Thank you. All right, before we have May Tran continue with our round robin facilitation of feedback, let's hear from our timer, as that is a very important factor for Francine.
Francine, without having any undue baffle gab, we were right within time. 7 minutes and 19 seconds.
So that's within time and knowing your pace. So awesome. Let's turn it over to my dear friend May Tran to facilitate some round robin evaluation.
Thank you.
Mr. Tom. Okay, I'm going to be baffled, not to be too technical. I'm going to call on a few volunteers with us. How about everybody has double duties today because we have a short staff here. How about Terry, followed by Gloria?
So Francine, I've talked to you a lot about this speech and I've seen it any number of times. And each time you've taken those certain percentages and improved it. And you've continued to do that. And at this point, I don't feel like I have anything I can add to it. You were awesome.
Thank you. Gloria, then Marjane.
Francine, I'm in the same situation. I've heard the speech many times when you practice it for different levels and you've improved it every single time, and I'm still not bored by it. I particularly liked your sound effects. I won't try to do it. Every time you said it really isn't that bad, and you did that little boo thing, and your gestures. Look at the baby. That was really great. I really like this speech. Thank you.
Marjane.
I can echo what they said. I think I've seen it improve every time. One thing that I noticed this time that I think you might be able to do that I think would give it a little more impact is that first time after you start the story about, have you ever thwarted death? The first time you say it really isn't that bad, maybe come in a little close on that one. But excellent. Great.
Do we still have time?
Yeah, let's get one or two more.
How about Stephanie, then Rajat?
Hey, Francine. I've heard the speech a few times and it does get better. And I'm not bored of hearing it. The one thing that, I don't know, I guess it's just personal preference or taste, that Raz thing, that's something we would get punished for if we were ever caught doing that. It works with your speech, but it's something that I'm not used to seeing. Other than that, go for it. Okay, yes. That's it for me.
Thank you. Rajat.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Francine, that was another wonderful speech storytelling. And I do have a couple of suggestions for you. I feel your vocal variety is, it was pretty obvious. It was awesome. But I would say it would be like, if this was the middle point of a vocal variety, it was like more on top from here to here. I would like to see few instances where it goes below as well. So that will create a really good contrast. And just a simple, small suggestion, I'd like to see more pause in one instance. This is where you said, you're shown this picture of the baby, and then you heard the kaboom. So I like to see that between those two sentences, if there was just a little bit longer pause. I thought that went really quickly into it. So that's all I have to say. But it was an excellent speech.
Thank you, May, and all who support that. Yes, a little dynamic range is what I think Rajiv is referring to. And I agree, that dynamic range. You've got it. And the rate enhance a little bit more on the low and slow, maybe. Marvelous. Let's get set up for our next presenter.